Welcome everyone. Excited to have you here. We've got another pretty awesome presentation coming up in a few minutes from Paulina from Thalasso. She's going to be talking about some of her seaweed biorefinery work, which is pretty awesome. Sounds pretty cool on the little piece that I've heard so far. And I'm excited to hear more, and I've kind of restrained some questions I've had. I told Paulina at the start, and she laughed at me. So we'll see what she tells us coming in the future. But I'm joining you guys from Campbell River, which is the territories of the Weewakaiwak, and Queerka First Nations. We recently were working with some of the Weewakaiwak Guardians. They got some cool training, and we were out in their territories doing some diving for some kelp work, and it was super fun. And I know that those guys, I think, are out again today at one of their little project areas by Quadra. So they've got some cool stuff going on in the kelp space right now. So keep an eye on them. I also wanted to quickly highlight, in addition to the work we just did with the Guardians, that we have our, I just dropped this here, CARTI projects page right here. So if you're ever interested in any other work that CARTI is doing or has done, this projects page kind of outlines it really well. And then the Seaweed Series, which you guys are all attending right now, is right here. So we can pop in that. And these videos are all generally right here. You can find them on YouTube as well. These are all YouTube links. So if you know someone that wanted to attend but couldn't attend, just fire them this way. And yeah, we'll get them all sorted. Just going to admit some more people. There we go. Yeah, we'll get them all sorted watching the videos up here. So Paulina's presentation today will be up here, hopefully fairly soon. Sometimes I get a little behind getting it onto the website, so I apologize for that. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about any of the projects we're doing, just fire me an email. We've got it like right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And yeah, I think that is pretty much all I have for you guys. Oh, I did want to highlight that later on in the year, I believe that we might be doing like a seaweed, little seaweed course. So when I hear more about that, I'll fire that out for anyone that is interested. I'm not quite sure of the details yet, but I can keep you guys updated if that is something you are interested in. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Paulina, and she's going to take over sharing the screen here. And we're going to hear from her about all of the work that she's got going on. And then we'll have a little Q&A at the end there. So yeah, go for it, Paulina.
There we go.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Logan, for the invitation. For us, it's very exciting to share what we're doing. We are working, or we believe we are working towards developing technological tools for seaweed management to empower coastal communities, seaweed farmers, and like decentralize the use of seaweed so we can get more benefits for communities and farmers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Thalasso, which is my company. I think my co-founder joined the call here. So that's great. He's from Norway. So I always like to share this presentation, like the intro, that I'm Mexican. As a Mexican, I had the opportunity to experience the ocean for the first time in my life in a beach that looked exactly like this in the Mexican Caribbean. And of course, this is how I fell in love with the ocean. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like this anymore. It looks more like this. And well, this is a picture of the exact same beach before and after the Sargasso invasion. This is not even a bad day. This is like a very mild influx day. And this is happening in over 48 countries now. And well, this is what inspired us to create Thalasso, which is what we call this Mexican-Norwegian cooperation project. We have a circular blue economy approach, and our main objective is to harvest and transform this seaweed into high-value ingredients. So it is quite interesting, I have to confess, and my coworker and co-founder is here as well. We didn't know much about seaweed in general. We didn't know much about sargasso in particular. But when we saw this, when we went to the beach and we saw this and we smelled this and we realized the struggle that coastal communities were having because of this, and the economical negative effects, the environmental negative effects, we had to do something about it. So the first approach in the history of Thalasso was creating these boats that you see here, so to prevent the beach landings. Because as an immediate solution, we thought, okay, so what we need to do is to stop the seaweed or prevent the seaweed to come to the coast, land in the beach and decompose and cause all this damage. And this is how we started. This boat is still, we're continuing with the development of this boat, but for now it's a little bit in a standby because we had this realization, okay, so this is happening in Caribbean countries, so islands. So when you can collect tons and tons of seaweed and then you deliver them to the coast, you're not really solving a problem. You're just moving the problem from ocean to land because they don't really know what to do with the seaweed. They have problems with the space in the islands. So it's adding to the waste management challenges that they already have. And then we started falling in love with sargasso, started understanding the potential it has for many applications. And that's when the Thalasso Biotech, which I'm going to focus on this presentation, and that's when the journey of Thalasso Biotech started. So what caused this climate change, caused this unprecedented blooming of sargasso, the calculation, we're using very conservative everything here because we're a Norwegian company and that's how we do things. So the calculation is there are 40 million tons of sargasso drifting around the Atlantic and the Caribbean. And of course, the problem is when it lands by the beach at these very Caribbean warm countries, it decomposes quite fast. And it causes it releases gases that are toxic. It leaks some also toxic elements. So it is threatening, unfortunately, the economies, the livelihoods, and the ecosystems, and killing marine life, destroying like coastal businesses, and of course damaging like very badly the health of people who are breathing constantly these gases. But in Thalasso, we believe this is a Caribbean gold. So when we talk about these 40 million tons, this year they calculate actually 70 million tons. For you to dimension it, it will be twice the size of the United States of America, the continental area. So it's a massive island of seaweed. But again, a massive opportunity because this is already surpassing the production of Asia of seaweed, which is the main producer of seaweed. So everything that we have been trying to share with the governments in Caribbean and Mexico is that this is a great opportunity for economic development, and we need to understand the seaweed fast and understand and learn all its potential fast so we can like take this opportunity. So in Thalasso Biotech, we have designed this, we love to call it revolutionary concept, a container-based mobile micro-biorefinery where we can extract high-value ingredients from sargasso and other seaweeds for different industries such as the biopolymer or bioplastic industry, pharma, nutraceutical, cosmetic, food, feed, textile, and agriculture industries. So here is the reason behind using containers. So even though the container-based refinery is pretty much inspired in the Caribbean context, Caribbean islands are very close to each other, but the connectivity and infrastructure is not necessarily very good. We thought, okay, like thinking about a centralized refinery doesn't make a lot of sense. The transportation of the seaweed from the islands to the refinery would be very carbon intensive, very expensive. The logistics the numbers were not very good. So we said, okay, we need to process on site also to keep the highest value in the seaweed. So container-based makes sense. Also, we wanted to involve communities, so a smaller scale network of refineries rather than a centralized refinery sounded like the best idea for us. And then as we started the design and all the processes, we realized that this is not only the case of Caribbean. Most of, or many of the seaweed farms around the world, they are in isolated areas, or yeah, the transportation of the seaweed, same thing. You're transporting 90% water if you want to extract the high value ingredients. So it's not, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So this model that we have designed, it fits into containers, 40-feet containers. And therefore, it's also very fast to be built. It's rather a big lab. So it can be operational in a period of 3 months. It takes us 30 days to build one of these, and then, 2 months for whatever might happen. Then it is, of course, modular and easy to scale, like a Lego. So as you grow your production or your needs or the ingredients you're interested in extracting, you can add more modules to it. Then another thing that is very important, this is mobile. So seaweed, you don't harvest seaweed the whole year, in most cases. So you don't need to have a refinery there all the time. So even in the Norwegian case, for example, the harvesting season is like moving a little bit with the weather. So you could use potentially one refinery in one farm. As soon as they're done processing, you move it up the coast to the next farm, they can process, and so on. So then this is also like very interesting for communities or a group of farmers that can share the operation of this. Of course, highly cost effective. And one of the goals is to increase the value of the biomass. We do see as the seaweed industry challenge that the farmers are not getting a lot of money for their seaweed, and we want to contribute in that. We see there are like very big companies making big money from the seaweed and buying it for very low cost to the seaweed farmers. So we want to make it a little bit more democratic, so the farmers can actually grow their farms, making more money from their seaweeds. And this, okay, so our process is designed for brown seaweeds in general, Sargasso in particular, soon starting to test with Alaria and Saccharina. But the idea and the dream of Thalasso Biotech is having these modules for every species of seaweed, and like having a catalog where you can decide if you want to extract polysaccharides or lipids or proteins and biostimulants. So you can choose, and we can like make these refineries tailor-made for each case. So what we're focusing on extracting from Sargasso at this point is 3 ingredients, or 1 product, 2 ingredients. So the biostimulants, and then fucoidan, very powerful antiviral, antibacterial. We have very high hopes for medical applications of this. It has been tested to treat brain cancer with some very interesting results. But of course, and yeah, this is also one of the challenges. To enter the pharma market is a long road. So probably the best approach is always to access through nutraceutical and cosmetic first, and then continue research, trials, etc., to climb up to the pharma. And then the alginate, which is of course everywhere, but we are focusing on the extraction of alginate for the bioplastic industry. They have this challenge to grow and be competitive with the like normal plastic, so they are going to need a big source of alginate in very accessible price. So we believe that Sargasso in this case can be like a very good biomass for them to achieve these goals. And then during phase 2, we already did it on the bench, but we after deploying the POC, we will be adding the extraction of proteins, cellulose, and fucoxanthin. So more interesting ingredients. We are using this sequential extraction methodology. So the idea is to extract the most of the ingredients without, like extracting one without damaging the following molecule and so on. This is very interesting because in the end, there is no waste. We have also been going through a optimization of process. In the industry, you use a lot of ethanol to separate or to precipitate some of these ingredients, which is not very sustainable. So in our first phase, we will be reusing the ethanol. So we already reduced the use of ethanol by 80% with the process that we have designed. And in the next phase, very interesting, but still working on some details, we're not going to use any chemical. We're going to use some membrane system. So it will be a 100% green process. This is also very important for isolated areas and coastal communities that would struggle getting some of these chemical compounds to do their processing. And well, the project started around 4 years ago, and Thalasso Biotech 1.5 years ago, and it is very interesting. I was talking to Logan a little bit before this. Seaweed ingredients are literally everywhere, and this is exciting. And for us, it has been like when you open your eyes and you realize that it is literally everywhere in your toothpaste, in your clothes, everywhere, then you see the actual potential and you get very high hopes. So we are in conversations or already in partnership with some of these brands. We have a partnership with Sway and Pangaya. Pangaya making sustainable clothing from natural fibers, and Sway making bioplastics. They have both some of our ingredients, they're working with it, and we're in communication with all these L'Oreal, Purina, Lululemon, Beseos, Unilever. So the potential is there. And all these brands, it's very interesting. They are like looking more and more into including seaweed ingredients and also looking into the traceability of the ingredients. So they no longer want to get the ingredients from random Asian like brands or companies, because the people in general, the consumers, are asking to know where it comes from. And then again, these micro-biorefineries allow them to know exactly like, okay, so these come from this farm in Iceland or in Barbados or wherever. And this is something that will increase also the value of the ingredients. And here is, with the support of the Norwegian government, we made this. This is a digital twin of the refinery. We love this because this is where you can make mistakes before building. So this is actually only the visual, but there's a digital twin where you can run the process through, and it will detect where you can improve, etc. So you can play around a little bit to make it better. So digital twins are also a very helpful tool for biotechnology. And I don't know if you guys have seen this seaweedinsights.com report by Carlota, very good friend. Also very interesting to see where the market is going. And talking to Carlota, what she says is, at this point, because of the challenges of Asia growing their production, is one or the other. It's not like all these markets are going to happen. It's one or the other, because there's only enough seaweed to supply to X or Y. So here is another great opportunity. So outside of Asia, we need to grow the capacity of supplying seaweed ingredients. So again, this is another opportunity for this side of the world to start looking into supplying all these ingredients for all these industries. And well, again, even though we have designed this for the Caribbean, it has been very interesting because every week we get in contact, some people from all over the world reach out to know about the technology. So we have potential clients that are waiting for our technology in Norway, Sweden, in Iceland, Greenland, Canada, Alaska, Australia, etc. So it seems like we we have this like very sweet spot with the technology because it's affordable to get, and the size makes sense for the actual production of normal farms, or the capacity of harvesting wild seaweed. So we are in communication with many countries already, and of course we have other markets that we would like to access, especially West Africa with the Sargasso issues as well, that, well, we want to be ready for them. And here's a little bit on the technical part. So 2 containers for Sargasso in this case. The capacity is quite big, 27 tons of fresh seaweed per day or per shift. So that is quite a lot. The proof of concept that we're building is going to be a little bit smaller, but the yields that we can extract are like impressive. So this is the calculated capacity, and the numbers, you can translate this too. So, and the cost of one of these refineries is approximately 300 to 500 US dollars. So you get it back first year. Of course, you need to go through the process of certifying your products and sales and stuff like that. But as you see, like this is what we see, like big companies that are refining seaweed are getting the seaweed for very, very affordable prices, and they're the ones making a lot of money because the market is huge, it keeps growing. So this is where we want to empower people, coastal communities, seaweed farmers, to make more of their production. And well, we have an amazing team. We here, co-founders, our board of advisors, all with like biotechnology and ocean backgrounds. Our science team is actually in the University of Rio de Janeiro. So, and our group of engineers is in Mexico, the board of advisors is in Norway, and we have advisors from literally all over the world. So for the Sargasso Challenge, we have been looking for people all over the world with the knowledge, with the experience, with the ideas, with the like courage to make like new things, to make this happen. And I think because we have all this diverse and global team, we have all this creativity to like make these biorefineries that will benefit a lot of people. And well, where we are right now, we received a lot of grants from Norwegian government, around 6 or 7. We have around 15 investors from all over the world, probably 19 already, from Panama, from Puerto Rico, from US, Mexico, UK, Norway, of course. And well, yeah, this with these funds, we managed to like not finalize, but have the industrial design of the boat. So that one will be ready in probably 1 year. The design of the refinery, all the testing, the optimization of the process, where we increased the yields, like the fertilizer, we can probably produce 20,000 liters per ton of seaweed. So that is massive. And then we received this grant from New Lab and Invest Puerto Rico to deploy the pilot plant in Puerto Rico. We were hoping to have it ready now, but a lot of challenges came across, and we will be delivering probably in a month. But this is very exciting for us. Delivering the proof of concept is the first step, so we can start testing with other seaweeds and start replying to all these interested people all over the globe that want to access these technological tools. And of course, I think Thalasso was born because we care about the communities, we care about the environment. So the idea is not just to create another company, I don't want to say names, like exploding like people and just resources, natural resources to make a lot of money. We do care for the people and the environment. And this is why decentralizing and giving access to technological tools to the people is the answer for us. And so that's it from my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Cool. That was pretty awesome. thank you so much again for presenting it all. I think we'll dig through some questions that come up as we go. I think Erin's already dropped one into the chat. She wants to know how we can support you and the work you're doing. So how can we support you in the work you're doing?
Well, I think, and we were talking about this before we started this presentation. There is in Mexico, in the Caribbean, especially, there's a lot of lack of knowledge when it comes to the potential of seaweed and all the ingredients and what you can do. I was sharing with Logan that earlier today I delivered a bioplastic made of seaweed to a government official who I've been telling about this bioplastic for many years, and he didn't understand until he touched. So I think by sharing and like sharing and validating what we're doing, like this is not new. This is just something that is new for the region, but not new for the world at all. So sharing would be like an amazing way to support our venture.
Yeah. I have a couple of questions of my own, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat or to raise your hand and I can ask him. But I did wonder what was the time difference between the first couple of photos that you had of like the beach and then when it was like covered with the sargassum?
That can be a matter of hours.
Oh, it's that quick, is it?
Yeah, so that is very challenging, for example, when it comes to tracking sargasso. So they are using oil spill technology to track where it goes. But when it's an oil spill, you know how thick it is and it's not alive. So you know where it will move if you using modeling and satellite images and so on. So with sargasso, the challenge is that it is one growing as it moves. If a little bit gets away from the Sargasso Island, then it grows again. It is duplicating its biomass every 7 to 9 days. And then the thickness, it can be, I have seen from 2 meters depth to 7 meters depth. So if one of these 7 meter comes ashore, then yeah, there was this case in Barbados, the government told us about, like they had a very bad influx coming to the island. And so they gathered a lot of volunteers and people from government to clean. And they did a great job during the day. And then they go to bed and they wake up to find like 3 meter tall piles again. So
That's that's a lot.
yeah.
Do you think that there would be any change in your in the chemical extraction if you were to bring it somewhere like Canada and use our seaweeds, or do you think it would be a similar process with similar extraction technology?
I think when it comes to brown seaweeds, it will be the same process. It will be a matter of checking the regulations when it comes to the use of chemicals, but I think it's pretty much the same. And hopefully by next year we will already have the 100% green process. Then it can be used literally everywhere, no problem. But yes, we predict this same extraction methodology can be used for browns and reds, but we still need to do some more testing on the reds before being 100% sure.
Is that just to optimize it, or is that to choose the right chemicals?
It's to optimize. It's just like, like they change a little bit the temperatures, the grinding, etc., depending on the seaweed and of course the ingredient that you want to extract. But yes, agar, carrageenan, and alginate, they like behave very similar when it comes to the extractions.
Cool. I think there's a couple of questions in the chat here. Hi Bruce, is asking, what is the method of energy generation for the 811 kilowatts at the seaweed refinery?
So for now, unfortunately, we're connecting to to the grind of wherever we operate, but we are looking into adding some more sustainable like energy solutions. Like right now, we just need to deploy a solution. These 48 countries are really struggling, but we have been looking into solar panels from Norway that are very, very like efficient. And there are some other refineries in Asia that are using windmills and stuff like that. But at this, in this moment, we're using just electricity. We connect to the.
So you're just using the main grid that's local there. Yeah, cool. Lauren, hi Lauren, is also asking, how is the beach cast sargassum collected for processing? Because in Canada, there's concerns on using like mechanical equipment on beaches. I guess her follow-up question is there an innovation there to collect the seaweed off the beaches, or is it
Yes.
typical heavy machinery or hard labor?
No, so actually, okay, so it is quite interesting. Again, we're talking about 48 countries with 48 different strategies to manage sargasso. They are now publishing stuff about the whole value chain. So from the monitoring and early detection to the prevention. So first, some countries, the ones that do it correctly, they use some barriers or booms to like stop it from coming to the beach, because when it comes to the beach, it is late. It starts the decomposition process already. It gets a lot of sand, and then you're picking it up, you're causing erosion. Turtles cannot pass, and so all the bad things happen when it comes to the beach. Many countries with less like resources, they have to do the collection by the beach. Probably some still use heavy machinery. In some countries, it has been regulated, so they cannot use heavy machinery because it is like harming the ecosystem. So they use more manual, like people literally with equipment, like manual equipment to pick it up. And yes, there have been, I can probably mention 5, 6 companies from Mexico and some in the French Caribbean islands that have harvesting vessels. So you can collect close to shore. Again, like offshore might be better and more efficient, but the regulations are leaning towards for like prohibiting the offshore collection, because out there is an ecosystem, is actually cleaning our mess. So like close to shore harvesting vessels, super efficient, probably the most efficient that we have seen, can collect around 50-60 tons of seaweed per hour. So super efficient. And this is just, it's a very cool story. The first harvesting vessel that was ever made was done by this guy, Alejandro de Luna from Mexico. And he comes from Zacatecas, a very agricultural area, and he makes machinery for living. Like so he was on vacation, he saw the problem, he came back home, and he put together a tractor, literally a tractor, with these floating things like a catamaran and a conveyor belt. So that was brilliant. Like it was, and then he's the one making these super efficient boats right now. But if you look at the pictures from the first, from his like proof of concept, it was like, okay, so you literally put a tractor on top of these floating things and a conveyor belt, and that's it. It is brilliant. But of course, after
So cool.
we have been having sargasso for over 10 years now, from my perspective, we have been very slow finding solutions, but you will see a lot of innovations all over the Caribbean for everything from harvesting, the booms, the collection, everything.
Cool. I guess I have a bit of a follow-up for that. If you are doing the beach cast collection and you're getting the sand in the kelp, and I guess if you're doing the marine collection as well, and you have some contaminants like plastics or things in there, does that affect your processing at the refineries?
So the sand, we have to do a washing before processing. When it comes from the ocean, it comes super clean, no sand, but we still clean the salty water before the process. And and yeah, when it comes to the sand, we have to be very careful because if we wash it and we have to deliver it back to the beach from where it came from to not affect further. And the plastics and other, like, like, it's not only plastics, but a lot of fishing nets and stuff like that. We still need to do a manual sorting of that before it goes into the refinery. Probably some fish or crabs or stuff like that wouldn't affect at all. It's very little the bycatch that you get from when you collect, but the yeah, plastics and stuff, it's just a manual sorting for now. Hopefully, we know there's technology that can separate organic and plastic, just like with a centrifuge system. So we will add that in the future, but for now it's manual sorting.
Yeah, cool. I think Bruce has a bit of a follow-up to his question, and he says, dark fermentation of kelp is a method to produce hydrogen that leaves many valuable ingredients left over and could be worth exploring.
Of course, I
Yeah.
guess everything, and again, the magic with sargasso is there's so much sargasso. So I mean, I can only process so much, and I hope more people come with more brilliant ideas. We have we have come across a lot of like very interesting projects. Some people are actually using some enzymes that come from volcanoes or very deep waters to transform it into energy very efficiently. Some other people are focusing more on the protein extraction and then the fermentation for the generation of energy. For us, for me in particular, and Frude, I don't know if he's still here, but he would agree, we are very, very interested in these bioactive molecules such as fucoxanthin and fucoidan. They don't survive fermentation, I believe, so you would have to do that extraction before you do the fermentation. But this one, again, if they have potential to like treat cancer, to treat Alzheimer, then we believe we should like promote to continue the research when it comes to application of these molecules for human health.
Yeah, that's
I would
super
be,
cool.
Bruce, if you want to program a call, I can leave my email there. Everybody feel free to reach out. I would love to explore everything that we can do with Sargasso.
Yeah, that's super cool. I don't see any more questions in the chat or any hands up, and I don't have any other questions, but um, yeah, it's super exciting to see this kind of stuff come up, and I'm super excited to hear what's going to go on down when you first get your deployment started in Puerto Rico. That's going to be really awesome. And yeah, when you make your way up to Canada, the West Coast, Vancouver Island's a pretty good place. So see if you can get some little bits and bobs going here. Oh, there's one more from Lauren. She said, "Is your company exclusively focusing on sargassum?"
So for this, no, we're not. So we're a Norwegian company. The second phase is kelps. So Alaria and Saccharina are the next two on the road, and then we do have Gracilaria as another like parallel next step because of some potential clients or partners. So no, Sargasso is just the beginning, but mainly brown seaweeds and then moving to red ones as well.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of all the questions. So that's great. We might finish up there. Just as a reminder for everyone that this will be the recording of this will be all online on the CARTI projects page. If you have any questions, just fire them to me and Paulina's got her email and LinkedIn in the chat there. So if you ever want to reach out to her and ask her a bunch of questions, then go for it. And I think that's kind of it. So yeah, thank you again. And I'm super excited to see what comes up in the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, everyone. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon and the weekend.
Bye-bye.